There was a time when the term journalistic integrity had veracity, as a term of art and in practice. Its principles were encapsulated by this quotation of Edwin R. Murrow, one of the early icons in broadcast journalism. To be persuasive, we must be believable. To be believable, we must be credible. Credible, we must be truthful. There was a growing disillusionment in the 60s as the expanding war in Vietnam created distrust of authority and the news it released. It caused some of the media to adopt a new approach to their job, which inherited the name advocacy journalism. It was a style that had the writer take a position on a story they were covering with an underpinning of being driven by a socially progressive intent. The writer would take a stance and present the story in the hopes of supporting a noble or worthy cause, individual, or event. Although not nearly on the same sweeping scale as the resentment of the Vietnam War, the Bush presidency clearly hit a raw nerve among many members of the mainstream media. From the contested election in 2000 to his re-election while prosecuting war in the Middle East in 2004, there was a growing public hostility for Bush from many in the media. It took many forms, and given the proliferation of technology and 24-hour news cycles provided by the internet, there was never a shortage of harsh coverage and commentary. The practice of advocacy journalism has been supplanted by a new form of media manipulation, henceforth known as Journactivism, carried out by journactivists. The definition of the latter is as follows: a person employed as a journalist who performs their job with the veiled purpose of conducting or encouraging political activism. This new term was created as a response to the recent scandal propagated by a group of journactivists on a listserv called Journalist. The Journalist group was formed by Washington Post blogger Ezra Klein, who said that one of the criteria for admittance was to be center to left of center. Its 400 members work for the Post, New York Times, Baltimore Sun, Newsweek, Time, The New Yorker, The Nation, The Guardian, Politico, and CNN. A member leaked email discussions, and it revealed scandalous and slanted threads to cover up controversies that could hurt candidate Obama or devise ways to make McCain and Palin look bad in the eyes of voters. Judge for yourself if you think this conduct met the litmus test described by Murrow. During one of the Democratic debates between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton in 2008, Charlie Gibson and George Stephanopoulos of ABC News asked Obama about his relationship with fiery pastor Reverend Jeremiah Wright. This set off a flurry of angry posts by journalist members in disbelief that one of their own would ask questions that could portray Obama badly. The following threads leave little doubt as to their position on the matter. Listen, folks, in my opinion, we all have to do what we can to kill ABC and this idiocy in whatever venues we have. This isn't about defending Obama. This is about how the mainstream media kills any chance of discourse that actually serves the people. We need to throw chairs now. Try as hard as we can to get the call next time. Otherwise, the questions in October will be exactly like this. This is just a disease. This comes courtesy of Michael Tomasky, writer for The Guardian. Why don't we use the power of this list to do something about the debate? It would create quite a stir, I bet, and be a warning against future behavior of the sort. This comes from Baltimore Sun writer Thomas Schaller, who proposed coordinating a smart statement expressing disgust at the questions Gibson and Stephanopoulos had posed to Barack Obama. I'm not saying we should all rush en masse to defend Wright. If you don't think he's worthy of defense, don't defend him. What I'm saying is that there is no earthly reason to use our various platforms to discuss what about Wright we find objectionable. This comes from Chris Hayes of The Nation. It's not necessary to jump to Wright's defense. What is necessary is to raise the cost on the right of going after the left. In other words, find a right wearing a blank and smash it through a plate glass window. Take a snapshot of the bleeding mess and send it out in a Christmas card to let the right know that it needs to live in a state of constant fear. Obviously, I meant this rhetorically. This comes from Spencer Ackerman of the Washington Independent. If the right forces us all to either defend right or tear him down, no matter what we choose, we lose the game they've put upon us. Instead, take one of them, Fred Barnes, Karl Rove, who cares, and call them racists. Ask, why do they have such a deep-seated problem with the black politician who unites the country? This comes from Spencer Ackerman of the Washington Independent. Some of them showed irretrievable anger when discussing icons that simply stand for conservatism. This person was asked what she would do if she witnessed Rush Limbaugh having a heart attack in front of her. Laugh loudly like a maniac and watch his eyes bug out. I never knew I had this much hate in me, but he deserves it. This is from Sarah Spitz, a producer for NPR affiliate KCRW in Los Angeles. The presidential election, naturally, drew the most active discussions. The Journactivists weren't lacking for ideas. It requires no particular strategic genius or message coordination to recognize that we and the Obama campaign have the next 2 months to demonstrate that McCain and Palin represent the status quo party, the status quo ideology, and status quo policies. This is from Ed Kilgore from the Progressive Policy Institute. Even journalism professors got caught in the feeding frenzy, finding the time to rant while producing the next generation of Journactivists. Repeat after me. McCain is a warmonger. Palin belongs to a crackpot church and feels warmly about a crackpot party that trashes America. These people are cynical. These people are taking you for a ride. These people are fakes. These people love Bush. I don't know about any of you, but I'm not waiting for any coordination. Get on with it. This comes from Todd Gitlin, professor at Columbia's Graduate School of Journalism. One writer proposed an active conspiracy using the power of the publications of its members to produce a weekly message to support Obama. It seems to me that a concerted effort on the part of the left partisan press could be useful. Why geld ourselves? A lot of the people on this list work for organizations that are far more influential than, say, the Washington Times. Open question. Would it be a good use of this list to coordinate a message of the week along the lines of the GOP? Or is that too loathsome? It certainly sounds loathsome, but so does losing. This comes from Luke Mitchell from Harper's Magazine. We could go all day, but you get the point. Such vitriol begs the question, what caused the metamorphosis of Journactivist? Indulge us in a working theory. It began with the Bush victory in 2000, still a stinging subject for hardcore liberals even 10 years later. The controversy in Florida gave them license to bitterly dispute the legitimacy of the victory at all, but it went far beyond that. The elitist liberals were seething because they regarded President Bush as beneath them, and it offended their intellectual vanity to be citizens of a country that elected someone they truly felt had inferior intelligence. They regarded Bush as a dunce, left helpless as Dick Cheney and Don Rumsfeld ran the war in the country out of the Pentagon. Over the years, the constant stream of contentious comments from members of the media, angry insults from celebrities, and cartoonish depictions in various print publications helped leave a residue of ill intent and incompetence. The Journactivists wanted to restore two things: their intellectual self-esteem and our standing in the world's view. What better way to accomplish both by showing how enlightened they are by helping elect the first black president? Obama's rise to power served as a cathartic catalyst that healed their fragile psyches. The self-loathing they suffered for 8 years, knowing that most of Europe despised us in the Bush era, was difficult to bear. They were ashamed to be American, a sentiment echoed by Mrs. Obama. Yes, Journactivism was born out of an intense desire to reclaim their intellectual vanity. Isn't it nice to know that a decade of news was filtered by people trying to reclaim their dignity?